Yeah, Bill Buckley, William F. Buckley, not the famed columnist, but the actual former CIA station chief, was an American hero. Bill Buckley grew up in the Massachusetts area, always wanted to be a soldier, used to play with soldiers as a kid growing up, according to his family. As soon as he could, he enlisted at age 18 in the U.S. Army and went to Korea for the Korean War, where he was awarded a Silver Star for bravery. Came back to Massachusetts on the GI Bill, went to college at Boston University, and became a commissioned officer in the U.S. Army, and actually became one of Kennedy's first Green Berets that went over to Vietnam as part of their special operations group when we were fighting insurgencies in Vietnam. While in Vietnam, he also joins the CIA and becomes what is called in that time period, and it still exists today, though it's a different name, as a paramilitary officer with the CIA. So after Vietnam, Bill goes back full-time into the CIA, where he becomes pretty much their firefighter, their smoke jumper, where he is dispatched around the globe to deal with predominantly insurgencies, communist kind of activity that's taking place, wars. He's not really your traditional case officer looking at the Soviet target, running spies inside of Moscow or wherever. He's pretty much a guy that's used to fighting in the bush. After the first U.S. Embassy bombing in 1983, which resulted in several members of the CIA being killed, Bill Buckley volunteers to go into Beirut and stand up the CIA operations, pretty much to become our eyes and ears inside of Beirut. As one of the gentlemen I interviewed for my book on Bill Buckley said, as people were running to the parking lot looking to get the heck out of headquarters, Bill was offering and volunteering to go to Beirut. He was that kind of person. He was always running towards danger. Well, while he was in Beirut, he was targeted and kidnapped by Hezbollah, or the Islamic Jihad organization, as we knew them at the time, which, if you stop and think about this for your viewers, think in our today's world of social media and YouTube and the internet, what the world would think of the CIA losing their senior man who's held hostage in a place like Beirut. You would have to fast forward to Benghazi to think about a similar kind of scenario when Ambassador Stevens was missing. So Bill was a captive of Hezbollah. I, at the time, was a special agent assigned to the CIA Hostage Location Task Force called the HLTF. And our job was to find Bill Buckley. And unfortunately, we could not. Bill was held with many, many other American and Western hostages, predominantly American, though a couple Brits at various stages. And he ended up dying in captivity as a result of what we thought at the time was pneumonia. He had been tortured, and badly, had been sick. The other hostages had asked the guards to get him a doctor. They never brought one in. But Bill died in captivity in Beirut. You fast forward a few years later, we were able to get a source to help us find Bill's body, and we eventually brought Bill home, and he's buried at Arlington National Cemetery. American hero. He's one of the gold stars on the wall, as you first walk into the CIA there on the right. He's actually the 51st star on the wall there.
How do you think his death and memory impacted and also changed our perspective on the war on terror and, where that situation was evidently heading?
Well, it was devastating for us, meaning the sense of failure on our part was tremendous. It's hard to imagine today the scope of carnage and outrage. Think in context. You had in 1983 the U.S. Embassy bombing in Beirut, which blows out the CIA station. Then you had the Marine Corps barracks bombing. Then all of a sudden you have all the Americans being kidnapped in Beirut, to include the CIA station chief, sent into Beirut to get a handle on terrorism. Then we have, while he's a hostage, the embassy blown up again in '84. And the failure, that time frame is kind of, and I just thought of that, a microcosm of our failure, of everything that was going badly for us, the inability to get in front of the threat, the lack of human intelligence, the lack of American focus, the lack of resolve, the lack of let's hunt these folks down that were responsible for this. And whether it be justice or vengeance, I don't know. I'll let your viewers be the decision maker of that. I know that it just made us angry and very frustrated and just a sense of failure, very, very vivid, when you hear of, how this poor man died in captivity and hear the United States of America couldn't find one of their own. He was a hostage that was not forgotten because we were doing everything in our power to try to find him. We just lacked the sources, the technology, the intelligence liaison from our partners, the Israelis, the Brits, the French, the Lebanese, to be successful in trying to get him out before he died a very horrific and miserable death.